So welcome to Ukulele Bootcamp, take two. So as I mentioned a moment ago, the idea is, first of all, that anyone should be able to play ukulele in a week. That's where this originally came from, was a conversation with Amy Gage, where I believe that almost anyone can learn to play in a way that is fun and rewarding in just a week. So then we've had this Wednesday class at noon on Zoom through the pandemic. That's been just great. And the people who are in it have really become pretty, I won't call them advanced, but advanced enough that they're not beginners anymore. So the idea with this boot camp, whether you're here in person or whether you're joining us on the stream, is that it is a chance to sort of get up to speed on the basics of ukulele, whether that means so that you can join us on Wednesdays, or just giving you the tools that you need so that you can look up whatever songs you want on the internet and keep playing. It's really a rewarding instrument because of how quickly you can be playing and singing and just sort of enjoying music with it, in a way that the guitar has a much steeper learning curve. Okay, so any questions or thoughts before we jump in? Okay, so there are, let's see, nope. That's the button I wanted to push. There are three basic concepts to understand for how a ukulele works, for how we make music with it. And that is that we have strings, we have fingers, and we have frets. Almost everything that we will do on the ukulele is going to be some combination of strings, fingers, and frets. So 4 fingers, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're not going to count your thumb for ukulele. If you're used to, there was someone who said that they played piano at one point, right? Oh, you said it, Ellie, yeah. So if you play piano, you'll know that the thumb is usually called the first finger. So not in ukulele. 1, 2, 3, 4. When we put our fingers to the frets, we're going to use the very tips of our fingers. And so if you sort of put your fingers like this, imagine that the tips of your fingers have become flattened, right, perpendicular. That's where you want to push in. You really want the string to hit right in the center of your fingertips. In fact, my fingertips from years of playing guitar are flat now. And if you play long enough, they will flatten. One of the tough things about ukulele and any stringed instrument is that you have to push harder until you have calluses. So it is going to hurt more and require more exertion for the first week or two. And then your fingers will start to develop those calluses, and ironically, you don't have to push as hard once your fingertips are harder and aren't a soft, spongy fingertip. Okay, so those are your fingers, 4 fingers. There are also 4 strings on a ukulele. There is our G string, our C string, our E string, and our A string. And they get those names because that's the note that we normally tune them to. So when you're tuning, you tune this to a G, to a C, to an E, and to an A. There's all sorts of alternative tunings that you could put your ukulele into if you wanted to, but we're only going to deal with standard tuning. G, C, E, A. Okay, the last thing of our trilogy here. Are frets. So you'll see that there are frets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as you count them down. Probably the 12th fret is where the neck meets the body in your ukulele. Probably. You also probably have a dot on your 12th fret or 2 dots on your 12th fret. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Mine actually meets on the 14th fret. So it'll be either the 14th or the 12th fret, depending on your ukulele design. Go ahead and notice the 5th fret though. Looking down, there should be a dot on your fingerboard. Do you see a dot for the 5th fret? Does everyone have one? No, on the top, Ella. You definitely have one on your fretboard itself, but do you have one up here? Oh, no, you don't. So just look down and you'll see it. The 5th fret is important for us because the 5th fret is the note where if you put your finger on that 5th fret, it's the same as the next string, usually. It's actually an octave apart for those first 2. For the next one down, when you put your finger on the C string, you're going to go on the 4th fret. Actually, it gets a little tricky there. It changes it up. And you hear that those two are the same note. And then back to the 5th. Back to the 5th fret for those bottom two. Okay, don't worry if that didn't make any sense to you. Who was totally confused by that? Oh, most of us were, okay. Let me explain the whole concept in a different way. Start in this top note right here, this top string. This is a G. Right? There's your G. In music, we count from A to G. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. A, B, C, D, E, F. It goes over and over and over again, okay? In between notes, there are things called sharps and frets. So in between a G and an A is a G sharp. G sharp is the exact same note as an A flat, right? A little down from an A or a little up from a G gets you to the same space is the idea. We usually talk about sharps rather than flats, but it doesn't really matter. So this is our G, right? We tune it to a G. We used our tuner so that it set it at G. When we put our finger on a fret, it's going to raise the pitch. Right? Put it on that 1st fret. And what we did was we took a G and we turned it into a G sharp. By putting our finger on the 1st fret of that G string, we turn that into a G sharp. And then if we take our finger and slide it up to the 2nd fret, and when I say the fret, I mean actually the middle of the fret. You don't want to be on the metal bar, right behind it. Now we're on an A sharp, B. There's no note between B and C, so the next is C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E. There's no note between E and F, F sharp, and back to a G. So once you're at that 12th fret, you're back to the same note, just an octave higher. So, did that make sense, what we just went through there? So what we're doing with ukulele when we learn these chord shapes, and in a minute we're going to learn them as shapes and we're not going to think about these notes again, but it's important to have these as sort of base ideas, is we're turning every note into one of the notes in a chord. So this right here is a C chord. It's the first chord we're going to learn. So go ahead and try that. Take your ring finger and you're going to put it on the 3rd fret on the A string. That's the string closest to your toes. So remember that we want to come in pretty perpendicular and have that thumb wrap around the top. And go ahead and throw that is everyone here a righty? Yeah, oh that's good. Or at least you're playing right-handed ukulele. Have that elbow kind of out a little bit, I find helps to just get the right angle and make it smooth and relaxed. So what we're going to do then is we're going to let each of these strings ring. And make sure each of them sound good. So what we've done here is we've changed each of these 4 notes, each of these 4 strings, into one of the 3 chords, or excuse me, one of the 3 notes that are a part of a C chord. So a C chord is actually a C, an E, and a G. So what we're doing when we're putting our fingers down is making sure that all of these notes become C's, E's, or G's. So this was a G already. We don't have to do anything to it. This was a C already. We don't have to do anything to it. This was an E already. We don't have to do anything to it, right? And those are the 3 notes in a C chord, C, E, G. But then we've got this 4th note here, the A. And there's no A in a C chord, right? C, E, and G. So we need to turn that A into a C, an E, or a G. So what we're going to do is we're going to go A sharp, B, C. And what we've done is we've turned that A string into a C note. And what it means is all 4 of our notes that we're going to pluck, all 4 of our strings, are a C, or a G, a C, an E, and a C. Does that make sense what I just said? Sort of? It doesn't really have to make sense because we're going to learn it all as shapes and you're not going to think about the notes in it ever again, really. But it's important to understand the core of that's what's happening here. We've turned all of those into one of the 3 notes that are in a C chord. Same thing here. We turned all of those into some of the notes that are in an F chord. So let's go ahead and work on these first 2 chords, our C chord and our F chord. So go ahead and start first with that. You're still seeing the chords up there, right? Good. Start first with the C chord right here. So remember to wrap that thumb around the back. Remember to have that wrist be as loose as you can. You're pushing back with that gap that's right in there. That's where the back of the neck is pushing into. The back of the neck should push right into there, right? And that's the sort of counterbalance that you're getting for your finger. You're pushing your finger, which pushes the fretboard, which pushes the neck against the back, that sort of gap of your thumb. So here's your C chord. Let's hear it from everyone. Ellie, you're just a little out of tune, but that's a good chord otherwise. I got a tuner somewhere. Where did I put it? Mom, do you still have my tuner? Didn't I put it in yours? Oh, here it is. It's right here. Okay, so now we're going to learn our second chord, and then we're going to practice switching between them. And our second chord is our F chord. Our F chord. So take your middle finger, and you're going to put it on the 2nd fret of the G string, that string that is closest to your chin. Remember to get as perpendicular as you can. You want that nail almost pointing straight in towards the fretboard. If you're having trouble getting perpendicular, it might be worth checking your fingers and making sure your nails aren't too long on that left hand. That can make it tough too. So we put our middle finger in there on the 2nd fret on that G string. Now, on the E string, that's the 3rd string down, we're going to take our 1st finger and put it on the 1st fret, also perpendicular, with that thumb wrapping around. That's perfect, Hillary. Mom, I can't see you. Perfect, there you go, with that thumb around back, good. So if you, thank you. You want me to tune it real quick for you? One of the things about these ukulele strings, these fake hacknut strings, these nylon strings, is that when they are new, they go out of tune like crazy while you're playing. But once you have played them in, they'll stay in tune pretty nicely. So you can sort of cheat like I'm doing right here and stretch out the string a little bit. Be careful not to pop the string, that can happen too. Break them in. Fortunately, ukuleles, unlike a guitar, for instance, you really don't have to replace the strings so much. Okay, welcome back. Let's try that again. So take your middle finger for this F chord, and you're going to put your middle finger on that 2nd fret on the G string, the one closest to your chin. Take your index finger and put it on the E string. That's the string that is the 3rd one down, 2nd closest to your toes on the 1st fret. Trying to come in as perpendicular as possible. Make sure you have that thumb wrapped around. And for the F chord, I like to pull in my elbow just a little bit closer to my body. It's one of the things that you can play with is where that elbow is really changes the angle that your wrist comes into the fretboard at. So I find the angle is a little different there versus on a C chord. excuse me, on that F chord versus, yeah, on a C chord. Yeah, I said that right, sorry. I get used to the names of them in guitar and then I can't keep them straight. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna practice switching between these. So try a C, make sure all of them ring, and then switch to the F. So, if you're having trouble remembering the chords, let's talk about up here, what we're seeing on the screen, or if you're streaming, what you see below me with those charts. Okay, so look at the chart that's labeled C. You see that up there? So you'll notice that there are 4 different 1, 2, 3, 4 strings going vertically here, right? These are the 4 strings. That's the one closest to your chin. These are the frets, 1st fret, 2nd fret, 3rd fret, 4th fret. That is where your finger goes. And the number that's circled in there is what finger to use. So looking at this C chart shows us that we're going to take our 3rd finger, which is the number 3. We're going to put it on the 3rd fret on that string that is at the bottom closest to our toes. And that's what we see with that C chart. So with the F chart, we see that we're going to take our 2nd finger, we're going to put it on the 2nd fret, closest to our chin, on the G string, and our 1st finger on the 3rd string, the E string, and that's our chord. And then you can actually see that on here, it's nice, you see those O's that are at the top? That tells you that those strings are supposed to ring. They're left open. Okay, do those chord charts make sense to everyone? Okay. So having looked at those chord charts, let's practice switching between the C and the F. So C, make sure each of the strings rings out nicely, that you're not blocking it, and then switch to our F. Oh, there you go, Ella, you're a star already with this. So, and then we're just going to move back and forth as we get used to it. C, 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 F, 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 C, 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 F, F, F. Good? Okay, here, I'm going to come around and help folks who need a little help. Okay. So, play your C for me. Use that 3rd finger. That's your 2nd finger. 3rd finger. On the bottom string. On the 3rd Take your 2nd finger. Second finger. Put it all the way up there at the top. And the 1st finger goes right there. 2 strings. And one down, one down, one down. Yep. Seriously? That's your F chord. Yeah, you are going to have to cut those nails. Okay, anyone else need help? Are we feeling the C to the F? Okay, so let's work on going back and forth then. So for music, you only need to be able to count to 3 or 4, usually to 4. So we are going to strum on every beat. Let's talk about how we're going to strum. We're going to strum to have it sound like a ukulele. The real key is to strum right where the neck meets the body. If you're a guitar player, you're going to want to strum over the sound hole. But if you strum over the sound hole, it kind of sounds like a guitar. you want that ukulele sound, you want to strum right where the body meets the neck. So a little farther forward, right where the body meets the neck. Yeah, there you go. There you go. It's a different spot than we're used to for guitar players. Ellis, scoot forward, right here. Yeah, that's where you want to strum, right there. You can either strum with your thumb, but I recommend strumming with your index finger. That's how I strum. And I strum down using my nail, and I strum up using the fleshy part. So just with the C, let's practice that. Down and up, down and up, down and up, down and up. Good, down and up. Okay, now what I want us to do when we strum though, is we go down on the number, we go up on the and. So we count like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and count with me. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. A little faster now. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. There you go. Okay, now if you're getting a little lost or backwards or any of that, the important one to key onto is that the downs are the numbers. So if you get lost, keep that in mind and just go to down. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then if 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Get that into your head. Down is a number. 1, 2, 3, 4. What we're trying to do here is set up all of our future strums. And we set up our future strums by getting our wrists used to the idea that numbers are downs. We just want that to be so deep into our wrist that we don't think about it anymore. That when you're counting 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's how we'll get our sophisticated strums later on. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Now we're gonna switch to the F next. 3, 4, F, F, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4. One more set. 1, 2. Next, we're going to be back to the C. Here we go. Now C, C, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3. Now back to the F. Down, down, down. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2. Back to the C. Here we go. Now C, C, 2, 3, 4, 2. Just 2 sets this time. We're going to go to the F now. Here we go. F, 2, 3, 4, F, 2, 3. Back to C, C, 2, 3, 4. Second set, C, 2, 3. Now F, 4, F, 2, 3, 4, F, 2. Now just one set. Go to the C. Here we go. C, 2, 3, 4. Now F, F, 2, 3, 4. Now C, C, 2, 3, 4. Now F, F, 2, 3. And end on C. Okay, how did that feel? Yeah?
I am having problems with
Because it's turned.
Yes!
I get it.
Yeah. I cannot. It's frustrating me.
Yep.
I said that before I even came to my daughter. I'm like, I can't look at it that way. And you know it.
You're just gonna have to turn your head. Yeah.
I am.
It'll come that all of a sudden you'll get it. It'll just click. But yeah, I agree. They're always presented this way.
It's
Yeah.
On the F chord, I have trouble with keeping my second finger right on just one string. It kind of, I think I have it out, but then it will end up
So
on the next.
try pulling your elbow in on that F chord, which will angle, right, it'll like, instead of coming straight at it, it'll angle a little bit. Let me zoom in for those on Zoom so they can see it. Right, instead of coming straight at it like that when your elbow's out, if you pull your elbow in for that F chord, it tilts your wrist. And I find that a little easier. If you play guitar, you automatically do that on a C chord. You have to with that other finger. And other than that, that actually is the main thing you're going to practice early on, is getting it so that those fingers only hit one fret and that they're going exactly where you want them to. And you'll get there. And like everything else, it gets easier once you got a callus.
I wonder if it helps if you would imagine it like this. You know, you can hold
Oh, holding it up and imagining it? Yeah, you totally could do that for the chord charts.
you know what I mean?
Yes,
And now it's the same.
okay. What I'm like, every time I close it,
There you go, yeah. Okay, so let's try playing a song. So one of the ideas is that we're going to learn music that we'll use on this Friday night at services. We'll be outdoors around the, I keep feeling like there should be a fire there, but of course there's no fire. But out in the sukkah garden. So let's try, playing a song. So this is the first song that I've been teaching, O Diavo. If you know it, it's a sort of kids' camp song. It was actually an Israeli pop song from the 90s that included lyrics in Hebrew and in Arabic about peace, was the idea, that became an American Jewish camp song. And now you don't hear it in Israel, but you do hear it at camps. So you'll notice that there are 3 chords here, C's, F's, and G's. We are not going to play a G. When you see a G, just ignore it. We're only going to play the C's and the F's. So, yeah. O Diavo, it will come. So the words are literally O Diavo Shalom Aleinu. It's not quite translatable into English word for word, but it's something like we still believe that peace will come. O Diavo, again, it will come. Shalom upon us. Aleinu is on us, yeah. But yeah, peace will come. And then just the words in afterwards of the chorus are salam and shalom, which of course mean peace. Okay, so let's try this. So we're going to try just one strum per slash here. So you notice that there's C and then 3 slashes following it. That means we stay on that C. So C, 2, 3, 4, and then F, F, 2, 3, 4. Back to the C, C, 2, 3, 4, and just F, 2, 3, 4, F, 2. Just do that first line over and over, it'll be easiest. O Diavo Shalom Aleinu, O Diavo Shalom Aleinu, C, O Diavo Shalom Aleinu, F, Al Kulam, C, O Diavo Shalom Aleinu, F, O Diavo Shalom Aleinu, C, O Diavo Shalom Aleinu, F, Al Kulam, go to the C, Salam, C, 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 F, Aleinu, Ve, Al, Ko, Ha, Olam, C, Salam, Shalom, F, even though it says G there. Back to the C, Salam, C, 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 and F, Fe, Al, Ko, Ha, Olam, C, Salam, Shalom. Okay, I noticed that some of us, when we were getting lost or confused, would just stay on that C. which I think is great. That's exactly what you want to do. If you get lost on a song, come back to its home spot. And in this song, our home spot is C. In fact, I think almost every song we're going to learn this week, the home is going to be C. Okay, thoughts, comments, how did that feel? Okay, we're gonna do that again, except this time, if you're feeling advanced, we're gonna do the down and up as our strum. Each slash still is a down. Okay? So the up goes in between the slash up there, if that makes sense, right? So C, up, C, up, C, up, C, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Does that make sense? So each slash is a full strum. And now we're moving from our full strum being just a down to a down up. Which means we got to get that down and the up in the same amount of time. Previously, we just had the down. Right? Yeah, Ella.
Comment, make sure you're playing an F and not an A minor.
Oh, yeah. That's a good, so,
A minor is when your first finger is on the second. It would be on C instead of E. And they're right next to each other. And yeah, it's kind of hard.
My problem is, I know it's out of tune, so I don't strum it because it throws me off and I don't want to throw it.
don't worry. None of us are good enough to be able to tell yet. It's really, you know. Okay, so one of the things that Ella was showing us that's important and it'll be really useful is actually we've learned 3 chords today and we only think we've learned 2. Because if you play your F chord and you lift up your index finger, right? You play that F chord and you lift up the index finger, so only your middle finger is down. That's an A minor chord.
And then this would be a D, right?
What'd you say? Yeah, and then you've got lots of chords. You're about to get promoted to be our teacher instead of a participant here. Yeah, good. Yeah, you're set. You're good. Okay. So, last thing for today is we're going to work on this strum. So let's get that strum going. So just stay on the C for now. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. If you're having trouble keeping that down, up, and not getting it reversed, which is really hard to do actually early on, be really like into your body with it. Whether it's shaking your body, or sometimes actually I think what really helps is just your foot, but in a really dramatic way. Count that beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you're just moving it back and forth right here, tap with your heel, not with your toe. If you tap with your heel, it involves your whole foot. If you tap with your toe, or your whole leg, if you tap with your toe, it's just your foot. But if you go with your heel, then it moves your whole leg and it gets your whole body into it. So 1, and tap on the down. Bring your heel down pretty hard on that down strum, and it'll help you get into it. Down, 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 up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. There you go. Everyone's got it. So then we're going to go to the F. Here we go now. F, 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 F. Down, 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 down. If you get lost, just do the downs. Go back to the down. Now back to the C. Here we go. C, 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 F, F, F. Okay, now we're going to play our song. Here we go now. Odievo shalom aleinu. F. Odievo shalom aleinu. C. Odievo shalom aleinu. F. Al kulam. Back to the C. Odievo shalom aleinu. Odievo shalom aleinu. Odievo shalom aleinu. Ve al kulam. Okay.
Question about
Yeah.
this, F, G, C, so we don't do the G, so is it F, F, C?
Just stay on the F there.
Just stay on the F.
just do 4 sets of C's and 4 sets of F's and 4 sets of C's and 4 sets of F's. We'll come back to this song at the end of the week and add in the G. Okay, so that is all we are going to do for today. So I want to set our homework then. And remember that this video is streaming. So if you want to practice today and tomorrow, you can just grab the video. It's on CRC's YouTube, and it's in the online ONEG on Facebook. We don't stream it to the regular Facebook page, but the online ONEG and YouTube. Oh yeah, taking a picture of this is great. I'm also happy to share this, the Google Drive PowerPoint with everyone. So here's your homework. Here's what you should do. And if you can do this 2 to 3 times a day tomorrow, 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes at night, and over lunch if you can, and 1 time tonight, you will be so set and ready on Tuesday. So here's what we want to do. First is to start feeling the bounce between the C and the F. There's a bounce to it that happens because the C is played with that 3rd finger and the F is played with your 1st and 2nd finger. It's like bouncing back and forth between them. And get that feeling. And you can even feel the bounce dramatically with your elbow, right? Look how my elbow's moving out for the C and in for the F. You don't have to do that. I don't think about doing that. It just naturally does it. So C, F, C, F, C, F, C, F. Just with those down strums to get that bounce until it's comfortable. And then once that's comfortable, then go to the down, up, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And once you can do this, where it's comfortable back and forth at sets of 4, then we're going to switch to sets of 2. 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, C, 2, F, 2, C, 2, F. And once that's comfortable, we just go to 1, C, F, C, F, C, F, C, F. Good. And that's it. That's where I want us to be for next time, is to be able to do this. C, F. And Ella, if you want to be a little more advanced, what you can do is you can do C, F, C, where you're doing F on the ups and C on the down. And then you can switch them back and forth if you want to and go C up, F down, C up, F down, C up. Or you could go to a double speed. Okay, that's ukulele day 1. Let me turn off the stream.